Hello and welcome back to INMR, where in today's podcast I'm going to be predicting all of the matches in game week 38. It's almost the final day of the season and we head into it with plenty still to play for. Today I'll be predicting all of the results and explain what my predictions mean for how the Premier League table will look at the end of all 10 games. We're going to start off with the campaign so far, then we'll have a look at the title race, who's going to secure European football, who will join Burnley and Sheffield United in the Championship next season, and then once I've predicted all of the games, we'll have an overall look at what that all means. So if we start off with the campaign so far, as you can see, Manchester City are currently top by 2 points after their win against Tottenham on Tuesday night. Arsenal have done so well this season, but they do trail. Chelsea now in the top 6 after beating Brighton on Wednesday night as well. That was a 2-1 win. All of the games in hand have now been played. So this is pretty much the complete table. We've got one more game on Sunday. The first one we're going to be looking at is Manchester City versus West Ham. West Ham are going to finish 9th no matter what the result is, but a win for City does make them champions. City are unbeaten since December and have won 8 out of 8 of their last Premier League games by at least 2 goals. For me, I think this is going to be a routine win for City, and it's going to be a really unlucky end to the season for Arsenal. They've got Everton this weekend, but I do think they're just going to fall short despite a win. They do deserve the credit for getting so close and pushing Man City this far. You know, they're playing against perfection. It's always going to be difficult. As I said, I do think they'll win, but it's not going to mean anything. Opta stats have given them a 16% chance of winning the league, but they have to win and just pray for a miracle from West Ham. If Man City draw and Arsenal win, then they'd win the league on goal difference. Liverpool are going to finish 3rd regardless of the result after falling out of the title race some time ago. However, they will want to give Jurgen Klopp the send-off that he deserves, and I do think they'll get it with a win against Wolves. Wolves are trying to break into the top 10, but it's going to be unlikely even with a win. Gary O'Neill's side have done really well this season, but I do think they're going to be defeated by Liverpool on Sunday. The final side that makes up the top 4 is Aston Villa. They secured their Champions League place after Spurs lost to Man City 2-0. Since Glasner's appointment, Crystal Palace have been in brilliant form, but I think they'll be lucky to get a point in this game. I think Aston Villa are going to get the win to end the season on a real high. But yeah, as I say, you can't write Palace off because they're doing really well at the moment, but I still am confident that Aston Villa are going to win. The already relegated Sheffield United take on Tottenham, and in my opinion this should be a simple Spurs victory to hold on to that 5th place spot. They've definitely got Europa League football next season. Not a bad season from Tottenham. Obviously they'll want more going into next year. For Sheffield United, it's going to be another standard defeat for them, and of course back to the Championship for Wilder's side next year. Chelsea have made quite the comeback at the end of the season. I think they've won 4 of their last 4 now. After beating Brighton on Wednesday night, that was a 2-1 win to take them into 6th. They take on Bournemouth, who have also been good, but I do think Chelsea will get the win. However, 6th place doesn't guarantee Europa League football this year due to the FA Cup final. How it works is 5th get Europa League no matter what, 6th get qualification for the Conference League if Man United win the FA Cup, or if Man City win the FA Cup, it's Europa League football as standard, and then 7th spot, you only qualify for the Conference League if Man City win the FA Cup. So they should be okay, because Man United probably won't beat City. And to be honest, I think 6th is pretty good for Chelsea considering where they were last season, considering where they were at Christmas. They've had a good run of games towards the end of the season to get them back up the table. Still not where they should be, but it's a step in the right direction for sure. A Bournemouth win would take them 10th if Brighton failed to win against Man United, which would be a perfect end to Iraola's debut season as manager. He recently signed a new deal keeping him at the club for another few years, but I don't think they'll get the ending they want. I do think that Chelsea are going to be able to win this one. Moving on to Brentford versus Newcastle. Newcastle are in pole position to finish 7th. And as I said before, they will secure Conference League football as long as Man City win the FA Cup. In order to get 7th spot, they just have to match or better United's result at Brighton. Brentford are safe in 16th and have nothing really to play for. Saying that though, I do think they'll hold Newcastle to a draw and damage their European hopes. Brighton versus Man United. Now for Brighton, it's been a poor season compared to last year, but obviously their injury issues have been one of the worst in the league, and the loss of key players that they weren't able to replace, such as Caicedo and McAllister, have damaged their overall form, but they can still finish in the top half this season. United normally struggle against Brighton at the Amex, so I do think it's going to be a draw, which will mean an FA Cup victory is the only way Man United will be able to get into Europe. Brighton didn't play badly against Chelsea on Wednesday. They should have taken a lot more shots than they did. It always seemed like they were looking for that final pass to walk it in, but hopefully they can end the season on a high at the Amex by being a bit more ruthless in front of goal. Luton versus Fulham. This is another game that I think is going to end in a draw. Luton need a win, a Nottingham Forest loss and a 12-goal swing to stay up. The Opta supercomputer has given them a less than 1 in 100,000 chance of surviving the drop. So yeah, I think Luton are going to go down, meaning all three newly promoted sides are going to go straight back down to the Championship. A draw for Fulham does nothing, so I do think they're going to stay in 14th. Final game then is Burnley versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest only need a point to be safe, but they pretty much already are, unless Luton get that 12-goal swing. I think even if somehow Luton pulled off a miracle in their game, Nottingham Forest will comfortably beat Burnley anyway. They're already relegated, lack quality, and I do think the players that Nottingham Forest have in attack, the Burnley defence isn't going to be able to handle on Sunday. So my predictions mean that Manchester City will win the league for the 4th time in a row. Luton will be relegated alongside Sheffield United and Burnley. Spurs and Chelsea will secure Europa League football, and Newcastle will get Conference League on goal difference unless Man United win the FA Cup. So they are all my predictions, and that is where I'm going to end today's podcast, but there's plenty of others you can go and watch, and there's plenty more coming over the summer. Despite the Premier League being over, we've got the Euros and of course the transfer window, where there's always loads happening. For extra content, you can check out my website, which is inmrfootball.co.uk. You can also follow INMR on X and Instagram. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one.